Today we are in beautiful Thailand to drive the new 6th generation Honda CRV. Honda Malaysia had just opened up the order books yesterday, which is when we were traveling, and today we're actually driving the new Honda CRV. As you can see, the differences between old and new are quite dramatic. Now, just for reference sake, I'm just going to show you the old Honda CRV, which is the car that you're seeing here, just for reference. Okay, just to refresh your memory, this is what the old Honda CRV looks like. But that's our crew that's actually setting up the car. So anyway, now that I've jogged your memory a little bit, let's go back to the new Honda CRV. As you can see, the first thing that actually captures you is the pure size of the car and this very dramatic shoulder line. Now it creates a distinguishing factor. It plays with the light basically and adds to it accentuates the length of the car. So just for your information, it's actually a longer car with a longer wheelbase, as well as it's also a couple of millimeters wider than before. It's unfortunate that we are not getting the new Honda Accord in Malaysia. The Accord has been totally discontinued in the Malaysian market, but it is available in local markets, especially here in Thailand. And the reason why I'm saying that is because it sort of shares its front design, especially the lights, with the new Honda Accord. But besides that, let's go check out how the back of the car looks like. As you can see, it has 3 LED lights. It's LED front and back, and it still retains this light strip here, which is what we have seen with previous generation Honda CRVs. And some of you call it the Volvo tail lights. I know where you're coming from, but hey, it's quite common for car makers to be inspired by one another. That's not exactly a bad thing. It's actually quite a handsome looking car. And since we're here, we get more boot space as well over here, and you get a fully functioning fifth wheel, spare wheel. So, and another feature that it has is a walk away close function. I don't have the keys in my pocket, but if I did have the keys in my pocket and if I were to walk away, the boot lid will close by itself. I'm not quite sure if this is the 1.5 or the 2.0, but yeah, I'll speak more about that later, as we are going to be spending an entire day driving the new Honda CRV. In terms of interior, let's just set one thing straight. The sunroof, chances are it will not make it to Malaysia. In fact, I can almost confirm right now that it's not going to make it to Malaysia. So you get this 9-inch screen, 10.2-inch digital meter panel, and for those of you that are driving or owning the new Honda Civic, you'll find this place to be quite familiar. The seats though, this is the first time I'm sitting in the CRV, and I can tell you that you will immediately feel the difference. I mean, check out the tire support. I'm very particular about tire support, so it goes all the way to the edge of your knee. It's a nice interior, very nice interior. I'm not sure if this trimming will make it to Malaysia, but it'll be nice. Memory function seats, the passenger doesn't get it, but nice. It feels much more premium. Now, one of the key takeaways from the new Honda CRV is that it is a bigger car than before. And as soon as you sit down, this is the first time, guys, that I'm sitting in the back seat of the new CRV, and as soon as you sit down, it feels massive. But yeah, it's living space, sitting space is abundant at the back here. And I do wish that this panoramic roof made it to Malaysia, because it lets in a lot of light, and that adds to the sense of roominess and just accentuates the overall spaciousness of the car. Now I'm really looking forward to driving the new CRV. And bro, is this the 2.0 or 1.5?
2 liter.
This is the 2. Now this is a new powertrain in the Malaysian market, the 2.0 eHave. I'll speak more about this engine later once we start to drive this car. So anyway, quick introduction for the new Honda CRV. Now let's go drive this thing. The drive starts now. Starting off the drive with the new 2.0 eHave model eHEV. There's 4 of us to a car, and the thing about 4 people sharing a car, 4 people from Malaysia sharing a car, means that there also needs to be space for luggage. So this is going to be interesting. Let's do this. This is going to be a proper litmus test for the spaciousness of the boot of the new Honda CRV. 4 people and their luggage. I'm spending a week in Thailand, so my bag is going to be bigger. I have both the CRVs over here for quick reference. This is the diesel model, which is for Thailand, hence the clutter. Anyway, that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the position of the A-pillar. Notice that the A-pillar on the new 6th generation Honda CRV is actually placed further behind, giving it an elongated bonnet line. Just take a look at the previous generation model. Check out the A-pillar, the location of the A-pillar. Hence, the bonnet of the previous generation Honda CRV is actually shorter than this model. There's no better place to actually demonstrate this right now. Take a look at it. The bonnet line of the new CRV is longer, and the bonnet line of the old CRV is actually shorter. And this actually enhances the overall size of the car. It's not to say that it's the same size, it's actually a much bigger car as well, but it's also the way it has been packaged. And this is the shoulder line that I was talking about earlier. And notice that the previous generation model does not have that. So hence, the 6th gen model looks actually a lot bigger. Check out the overall design of the new CRV. And then this is the older model. Starting to look dated already. Else this actually looks really good.
What do I do?
So starting off the drive with in the back seat, and just a couple of points to note that the car, even though it's 10 millimeters wider and 80 millimeters longer, that's actually, you feel this in the back seat. It feels quite spacious, and I really like the amount of recline that the backrest has. If I can demonstrate that, it's actually quite comfortable at the back here. Of course, you get the usual ISOFIX mounts and such as well. And as I pointed out earlier, we do not get this panoramic roof for the Malaysian market, which is a bit of a pity if you ask me. But besides that, I'd just like to point out as well that there's a bit of, you get a bit of tire roar at the back here. You hear a bit of the tire, which could be down to the type of roads there are here in Thailand. So it might be different back in Malaysia. But besides that, I really like the spaciousness of the back seats. I think it's quite comfortable. One of the major complaints of the previous generation CRV was that the seats were not very comfortable, but so far, about 45 minutes into this drive, seems okay. So from here on, I'm going to be jumping to the front seats, and I'll bring you more from the front. For those of you who own the current generation Civic EHEV, well, I got to say this, that the overall character roughly still feels about the same. We have a full load. I have legends in the car with me, guys from Poltan, guys from DSF, guys from Wapcar, and so roughly about, I think, half a ton in here, give and take, plus baggage as well. So give and take about 700 kgs lah. So with 184 PS and 335 Newton meters of torque, and through some mountain roads earlier, well, it was fun, I would say that. I would give it that. But getting up to speed is, yeah, just that. And the overall character of the car, well, this is obviously a car that you buy for efficiency, not so much for power. In terms of efficiency, let's see, we are about 150 kilometers out of Chiang Mai, and we've been gunning it, not exactly feathering the throttle, and just about quarter tank now. And the onboard computer says that we are doing 14.4 kilometers per liter. That should give you an indication of how we've been driving. But we have an overall range of 704 kilometers, which is decent. And besides all of that, let's talk a little bit about how the interior feels. I feel that the front seat over here somewhat feels quieter than the back. Perhaps we are driving over different roads earlier. In Chiang Mai, we are driving over concrete roads. Now here, as we are making our way to Chiang Rai, I think we are driving over old school tarmac. So the absorption of the suspension, road noise, tire noise, well, not as audible as before. Comfortable, yes, definitely. You do feel that the car is more spacious. As I said earlier, it's wider, longer, and you do definitely feel that. Families would appreciate this. I will also give it that the NVH levels of the car is actually very impressive. So has a proper SUV, one that is designed for families and such, it checks all the boxes, right? There's, I guess, nothing that I can complain about as far as a family-oriented SUV goes. But besides all of that, I mean, you also get stuff like wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and the Malaysian Honda CRV will also get a 12-speaker Bose sound system. I'm into a good sounding sound system, right? So because we spend so much time in our cars, the least that you can demand is a good sound system. And now you get a 12-speaker Bose sound system, does it for me. However, I don't see any Bose branding in here. So I'm not sure if the car that we are in has it. But according to Honda Malaysia's website, the Malaysian spec will have a 12-speaker Bose sound system. However, I'm not sure whether that is just for the 2.0 EHEV models or the 1.5 turbo, or perhaps across both. Yet to find out. But back to the powertrain, the eCVT model it works basically the same way as the Civic does. The one in the Civic does. Power is transferred directly to the electric motor, so there's no gearbox in the traditional sense of the word. And just like to sport mode, it makes some funky sounds. Of course, that's augmented through the speakers and piped into the cabin through the speakers. And right now, as we are going through stop and go traffic, I think this is where the CRV EHEV truly comes alive. This is its element: stop and go traffic, becoming comfortable, becoming spacious, and all of that. It does that really well. Tomorrow, we are going to jump into the 1.5 turbo. We're going to see how that feels like. I'll be back with more. Our time here in Thailand with the new Honda CRV. As you already know, we spent our day yesterday with the hybrid model, the CRV EHEV, and totally blown away. I think my drive review of the car totally expressed that. Today we are going to go jump in the 1.5 TC, the turbo, and really looking forward to driving the turbo because I suspect the turbo might be the more popular model in Malaysia. But for now, let's go check out the interiors of the 2.0 and the 1.5 and see if there's anything that is worth mentioning, because I suspect that the interiors are largely the same. However, before we go there, I'd just like to point out that the 2.0 EHEV has a special feature called the active shutter grille that is somewhere down there, and what that does is it shuts down, actually it shuts a flap, and that increases the aerodynamic efficiency of the car, which basically gives you better range. So once the engine hits a certain temperature, it opens back up for cooling, and once it's cool, it shuts down again, it shuts again for better efficiency. Fuel efficiency, that is. That is the active shutter grille. And again, this is the EHEV. Let's just go take a look inside again. I really like this wood trimming. I'm not sure if this will make it to Malaysia, but if it does, it's excellent. It really looks premium. And again, it is basically the same interior, just basically an elongated version of the Honda Civic. So that's not actually a bad thing. And I'm really glad that Honda has actually updated the seats, because they're really comfortable right now. And what Honda calls it is the body stabilizing seat, and this is only for the front passengers. And you get some really good support around here. So it works really well for the lower part of your body. These bezels, again, we saw this with the Civic, looked really great, feel really premium. And then this 10.2 inch screen over here, well, basically this is going to be, it's basically again the same as the Civic as well. But this is one of the major difference between the standard model, meaning the 1.5, and the 2.0 hybrid, because the hybrid, the meter on the left, shows you the power and as well as the charge unit. So you can see over here, that is basically the battery percentage. So that's the thing about the new CRV hybrid. You also get a 15 watt, if I'm not mistaken, a 15 watt wireless charge pad. And what is interesting is that the previous models were only at 5 watts, so this is actually 3 times more powerful than the outgoing model. So, and the Thai model also gets memory seats. Not sure if that will make it to the Malaysian market. I hope it does. Another thing is the panoramic roof. I love panoramic roofs. So anyway, today though, we are going to go jump. Sorry man. Today though, we are going to go jump in that car, the 1.5 turbo. This is exactly the car that we're having. I think it's some gunmetal grey or something. And even though all the cars are running on 18-inch wheels, but check out the profile, the thickness of the tire. This is a 60 series tire, 60 profile tire. What this basically means is that it's all about comfort. The lower the profile, the lesser the rubber in between you and the road. And this is a 1.5 unit, so you don't get the active shutter grille. That is only for the 2.0. Nice car, I really like the design. There's no doubt it is a much bigger car than the outgoing model. Then, as I've already mentioned, these are the giveaways. This is basically a design carryover from the previous generation model, together with the wraparound lights. The lights look really good. So the 1.5 VTEC turbo. This is another feature that is not going to make it to the Malaysian market, the 7-seater. So the thing about having, this is actually not a bad thing if it doesn't make it to Malaysia, because the thing about having 7 seats is you ultimately sacrifice on space. Imagine if this is put in place for 7 people, you're only going to get this much space for your stuff. So yeah, it's not a bad thing that they're not making it to Malaysia. So yeah, now let's go check out the interior. The seats are the same. Almost everything else looks the same. Still get that wood trimming that I was talking about earlier. This is really nice. Still get this memory function seats. And just as I was pointing out, the meter panel is going to be different. This has RPM, the RPM dial instead of the battery levels, the energy consumption levels. Everything else basically looks about the same. Very nice, actually. The same wireless charge pad. So the key takeaway in the new Honda CRV is the absolute size of the interior. So the car has grown in size, as I've already mentioned a couple of times already. And the good thing is that you actually feel it in the car. There's loads of space at the back. Has, you know, the 3 friends of mine, Anthony from Paul Tan, Subhash from DSF, and Arvinder from where does he work? Wapka. And we are not small people, yeah. We are I think Anthony is the shortest, and he's probably about 5'10". Everybody else is over 6 feet, and we got really comfortable. And basically, Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, we are going to be doing roughly about 400 kilometers, slightly less than that. No dramas. So that's one thing that is really great about the new Honda CRV. They're comfortable, they're spacious, and that's the key thing about the Honda CRV, because it's ultimately designed for your family, right? And the nice thing that I appreciate about the new CRV is the reclinable seats, because this is nice. Oh, and you also get, I don't recall seeing this in the turbo, in the hybrid. It should be there, since both cars are roughly about the same. I'll go and find out shortly. And so we're going to be driving back to Chiang Mai today, roughly about a 220 kilometer drive. And we're taking a different route today. Yesterday was about 180 clicks, today about 220 I heard. So yeah, going to be getting plenty of drive time with the new Honda CRV. I'll bring you more. Behind the wheel of the CRV Turbo. So this is a powertrain that we have seen before in the Civic. So the figures are the same as well, 190 PS and 240 Newton meters of torque. Of course, it's down from what the CRV eHEV produces. And this particular model that we are driving is the all-wheel drive model, and it is going to make it into the Malaysian market as well. So I was just doing my research, and apparently the all-wheel drive system has been updated as well. And while the previous generation model had the ability to decouple, this one pretty much does hold on to the rear wheels even at higher speeds in the name of grip and safety. Not sure if it's going to make it to our local model, but that's what the Honda global website says. Anyway, there are a couple of things that are obviously different in here. You don't get a drive mode selector, you only get eco mode, which is pretty much like what we see in the Civic as well. In terms of drive, well, I did find that It's a little bit noisier in here as compared to the 2-liter hybrid. It's probably because this has a propeller shaft and such. You do feel a little bit more vibrations as well. Again, probably because of the all-wheel drive system. The steering wheel, as a colleague of mine put it, it's a little bit busier. And you always have to do some minor adjustments here and there. So in the driving sense, I do prefer the 2-liter hybrid model. I just find it nicer to drive. Power-wise, I think even though the hybrid has more torque, I think they're pretty much the same, I would say. One makes a lot of noise and doesn't go anywhere fast. This, if I put my foot down right now, of course we are going uphill, but I'm a bit torn. So personally, I like the way the hybrid drives. Perhaps it's because of the steering wheel. In terms of weight, well, despite the fact that the hybrid has a battery, the turbo is heavier by 6 kilograms. It weighs in at 1,749 kilograms, whereas the hybrid weighs in at 1,743 kilograms. So there's roughly about 6 kilograms difference between them. Fuel consumption though, of course the turbo is thirstier. It does about 14.3 kilometers per liter, whereas the hybrid does 20.2, if I'm not mistaken, kilometers per liter. May not seem like much, but this adds up over the long term. Besides all of that, I think for the style models, I prefer the way the hybrid model drives. But this is going to change when they come to Malaysia, simply because of our road conditions and such. We're driving over some very uneven roads over here, so this does translate back into the cabin, even though we are rolling on 60 profile tires. That's quite thick, so there's a lot of rubber between the road as well as the cabin, in between the cabin and the road. So despite all of that, you hear and you feel quite a bit of what's happening underneath. All in all, we can deduce that the CRV is obviously a much better car. Size matters in this segment, but not only that, it's also a nicer car to drive. It's stiffer than before, so you feel more connected to the car. The steering feel of the turbo, well, somewhat weird. The all-wheel drive system has been updated, and the time will tell how it performs over the long term. But if efficiency is what you are after, the hybrid is what you would want. The turbo offers the same things that the hybrid offers, but it's a more conventional approach to this SUV with a regular CVT gearbox, 1.5 litre turbocharged engine, and this powertrain is tried and tested because it has been around for a while already. The 2.0 hybrid, well, again, that is also available in the Civic, and it has been quite well received, and it is very efficient. And because it does not have a gearbox in the traditional sense of the word, so there's lesser vibrations underneath, and that translates to, in my view, a more comfortable ride. Of course, there are things about the new CRV that I wish was a bit better, such as the fact that it does not come with blind spot monitoring. Honda is soldiering on with the lane watch system, so which works by, if I put on the left signal, and it shows me what's in my blind spot through this 9-inch screen over here, because there's a camera that's placed right under the side view mirror. So all in all, I think it's a nicer car. Definitely a nice car. Better seats, no doubt, much nicer seats. Very comfortable, very supportive, which is what you want in this segment. We will see what specifications make it to the Malaysian market. Of course, the powertrains are going to be the same, but we may get bigger wheels because 60 profile tires on 18-inch rims. I think this is probably not what the Malaysian demographic wants, even though they are very comfortable, there's no doubt about it. The 1.5 litre turbocharged engine runs on Dunlop tires, Toyo tires, where else the hybrid runs on Dunlop tires, which are great tires as well. But I've been driving this car for an hour now, and I feel great. I really feel like I still feel fresh. I still feel like I could drive another 3 to 4 hours, no issues. And basically that's what matters in an SUV like the CRV. Comfort, spaciousness, and features. You get wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, you get comfortable seats. What else would you want? 2 days with the new Honda CRV. So we drove both the hybrid as well as the turbo across some really awesome roads here in Chiang Mai and then over to Chiang Rai. If you've never ridden or driven these roads, I highly suggest that it should be in your bucket list. Some really amazing riding and driving roads around here. Uphills, downhills, traffics, highways, done it. Conclusion, yes, as I've already said, I do prefer the hybrid. I think it's the way it drives is just a lot nicer in my books, but that's not to say anything about the turbo, because the hybrid had just set such a high standard that I guess the turbo was just hard done to keep up. But the turbo is a tried and tested powertrain in the Malaysian market. We've seen it already with the Honda Civic, and it's hugely popular, as well as the 2.0 hybrid powertrain as well, which we saw with the current generation Civic as well. So tried and tested, nothing new over here, durable, efficient, powerful, and that's what you want. On top of that, the Honda CRV also, it comes packed with features, the entire Honda sensing suite, and then adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, lane watch, the works, right? Of course, I'm not going to touch much on that because, as I've already mentioned, these are the Thai variants, so that might change for the Malaysian market. So all cars differ from market to market, so I suspect things are going to be different. Anyway, they're going to be launched in Malaysia next month. The top of the line model is going to be the Honda CRV Hybrid RS. That's the one that's going to come with 19-inch wheels. It's going to be the flagship model. In terms of pricing, do expect somewhere above 200 plus, I think, most definitely. In fact, the Honda CRV Hybrid is going to be the flagship model for Honda Malaysia. As usual, there might be 4 variants, perhaps two variants of the Honda Hybrid, the CRV Hybrid, as well as 2 variants for the turbo powertrain. Anyway, if you have any questions, do leave us a comment as usual. Thank you for watching, and do consider subscribing.